Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to DFS Week 15. Now, a lot of you guys may be out of the playoffs. If you listen to this channel, you're probably in the playoffs, but a lot of people might be out of the playoffs. So you want to get into daily fantasy, you want to do some FanDuel, want to do some DraftKings, or whatever DFS platform you prefer. This is going to help you guys with Week 15. I'm going to give you all the optimal plays at each position, give you guys some draft strategy here for your daily fantasy lineups for DraftKings Help, FanDuel Help, and again, whatever it is that will help you guys. Whatever platform you use, I'm going to help you guys make sure you guys get the optimal roster and give you some strategies along the way, some tips to help you guys get the edge for DFS. Now, if you guys are in the fantasy football playoffs, championships, say aye, comment below. Love to get that feedback. It's been super exciting year. Not so much uncertainty if you got 16 rounds because you had a backup plan, but it's been overall, there's been some uncertainty with that running back position. That's why I say go robust RB, and you guys should be rock solid if you guys got the 16-round draft solution. I will be launching the new 16 rounds coming in March of 2020. So make sure you guys are subscribed if you're new. We're going to start rolling out new content as we go toward 2022. It's going to be super exciting. Christmas is around the corner. It's a good time to keep this going. All right, guys? So the show is brought to you by Pristine Auction. I want to let you guys know, DeAndre Hopkins, guys, giveaway. Signed jersey. Look at this. This is beautiful, okay? I've also got an Austin Eckler helmet I'm going to be unveiling very, very soon. I've got a DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, multi-signed Ole Miss helmet right behind me. Ongoing giveaways from pristineauction.com. To enter, go to pristineauction.com. Use code SWAGLION. Create an account. You're entered for these draws. The draws are ongoing, okay, guys? Make sure you guys do go to pristineauction.com. Use promo code. Listen to this, SWAGLION, when you create an account. How'd you hear about them? Just say counselor and you're entered. Okay, guys? pristineauction.com, SWAGLION. All right, let's dive into the optimal plays at each position. Now, interesting this week, we got a Thursday night game against KC versus the Chargers. Then we got two Saturday games, Vegas Raiders versus Cleveland Browns. Then the Patriots and the Colts playing. Believe it or not, the Colts are the favorite in this one at 8:20 on Saturday. And then we've got the whole lineup of the Sunday games. But and the Monday nighters, the Vikings and the Bears. Now, there's no teams on bye this week, just so you guys know. But I'm going to give you guys the optimal plays for all of the games, okay? So if you guys are listening to this, obviously if I say Pat Mahomes, right, and you're listening to this Saturday, don't start Pat Mahomes. He's not going to be available on your DraftKings, lineups, okay? So let's talk about the optimal players and players I like particularly at each position, okay? So moving to the quarterback position, Jalen Hurts has got an optimal matchup. He should be back in action versus Washington. Arguably the easiest matchup versus position. I like him. I like Kirk Cousins versus Chicago as well. Good matchup, but, $6,700 might not pay it. I like the upside of Hurts at $6,600 on DraftKings over him. Let me see if there's anyone else here that pops out to me that's not a big name. Optimal matchups, Taysom Hill's got a good matchup here as well versus Tampa Bay. Just so you know, Tua's got a good matchup, but wouldn't necessarily start him. Love Justin Herbert. He's been rock solid. He's got a good matchup versus KC this Thursday. But if you are listening to this after the Thursday and we want something for Sunday, Aaron Rodgers has got a great matchup versus Baltimore, just so you're aware of that. Brady's also going to be safe and solid coming off 2 monster weeks. Tom Brady versus New Orleans got a relatively favorable matchup. So those are the guys I like here. Now, if you guys are interested in starting your Cam Newton, who's been pretty safe, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson kind of guys, they do have tough matchups. Like I said, Cam Newton, Carson Wentz, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Pat Mahomes, Russell Wilson, and even, I don't know if Lamar Jackson would be good to go because, again, I think it was a high ankle sprain or whatever. He's questionable, but he's also got a tough matchup as well. So does Stafford, believe it or not, coming off some big, solid games. All these guys have tough matchups, okay? Just so you're aware. So Stafford is playing Seattle, Mahomes versus the Chargers secondary, Josh Allen versus Carolina, so on and so forth. Carson Wentz versus New England. These guys don't have it easy. Just so you're fully aware of that, okay? Moving on to the running back position. Who do I like here at running back for this particular week? The guy that I like particularly this week, and again, he's a value, is $5,400. He's due for a big game. So if you want to roll the dice here on this guy, he's a total boomer bust. But James Robinson, I just heard that loser of a coach, Urban Meyer, saying that they've got to use James Robinson. So he does, just to let you know, he's playing Houston. He does have a good matchup. This is totally boomer bust. I like the value of $5,400. I like the matchup, and he is due. So if you want to take a risk and you're not afraid to get 0 points, or not 0, but like 5-point floor here, James Robinson is due for a boom type of game and good value, $5,400. But again, that is a risk, I warn you. James Conner, who's been solid, has got a great matchup, $6,400, a little more expensive. I like it. He's going to get a touchdown. He's almost guaranteed that, okay? He always gets that goal line work, and that's something that's really good with the Arizona Cardinals, using James Conner near that goal line. Nick Chubb, very hard to trust, but him and Dearness Johnson have a good matchup this week. But again, I'm not expecting good, big numbers out of those guys. Zeke Elliott, who's been playing like absolute crap, he has a good matchup against the Giants. Just be aware of that. You are going to pay $7,300 for a guy who's been crap in the bed. Probably not the best investment. For $5,900, I'd rather have David Montgomery, which, again, has a good matchup, okay? Other guys that have a good matchup here that you may want to be aware of, Dalvin Cook should be good to go coming off a 38-point, but you're paying $8,500. So if you want to secure him, you're going to pay. Cordell Patterson has got a reasonable matchup as well versus San Fran. Coming off a 14-point week. Hasn't been looking great, but always consistent. But you're going to pay $6,900 to get Cordell Patterson. DraftKings knows they don't mess around. Austin Eckler, mid-range matchup, $8,200, but you're going to pay. Javonte Williams as well. Him and Melvin, they've been splitting, unfortunately. I want Melvin to be gone. If Melvin's gone off that team, then we've got good things for Javonte Williams. He's got a mid-range matchup. Guys that got in tough, again, Leonard Fournette, if you want to start him, he's $7,600, but theoretically he's got the toughest matchup versus rush defense. He's going for $7,600 on DraftKings. Be aware. Saquon Barkley finally had a receiving touchdown. He's expensive as well, $6,500. Not necessarily expensive, but based on the way he's performed all year, $6,500 is expensive, but he's got that boom type of upside. Problem is he's got a tough matchup versus Dallas, so be aware of that if you are considering Saquon Barkley. Got it in tough. Same with Alvin Kamara. Got it in tough this week. And again, I'm going to do a starts and sits episode on Friday, which is similar to this, but not so much focused on the DFS. So again, if you guys want the good optimal matchups, James Conner, like I said, James Conner, James Robinson, good matchups. Dearness Johnson, good value. Play at $4,600 if you want him. Tony Pollard, I'm not sure if he's back. Check his status. Again, him and Zeke both have a good matchup. So those are kind of like your good matchups. And again, Dalvin Cook, Cordell Patterson, all good matchups. Okay, just guys that you may want to consider that have optimal matchups. When it comes to a wide receiver here, again, I like to maybe get an ace wide receiver, but I like to roll the dice on some upside. Darnell Mooney's got a great matchup. He's been very ice cold, very high risk, $5,500. If you want to roll the dice for an upside game, you could go for him, but I don't trust him. Deontay Johnson, great matchup versus Tennessee. As solid as they come, you're paying $7,500 though. But if you want to plug in a guy who's been really good to me all year in your DFS lineup, that's the guy to get. Devontae Smith, due for a big game, great matchup. So again, Devontae Smith, great matchup. Deontay Johnson, great matchup. Darnell Mooney, great matchup. So make note of this, guys. They're optimal matchups, guys. Deebo Samuel, good matchup as well, coming off a 13-point week versus Atlanta. Deebo Samuel, you're going to pay, though, $8,200. They understand he could put up a lot of points. Julio Jones, not very safe, not very trustworthy, but a good matchup. So, again, listen to what I'm saying, guys. I'm giving you kind of my feedback in regards to whether I would trust. Again, this is not something that you guys should take literally. You guys got to form your own opinion, but this is my opinion on this stuff, okay, on the DFS for this week. Russell Gage coming off a 10-point week, got a mid-range matchup, might be a guy worth rolling the dice on here. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else based on matchup. Devontae Adams, you're going to pay $8,900. He's got a good matchup as well, mid-range, I would say, 37-point week, doing good. Again, if you want to solidify and get your ace guy, there you go. If you want some value, Allen Lazard coming off a 21-point week. Mid-range matchup, Allen Lazard, $4,000, less than half the price of your Devontae Adams, but obviously he's going to get less targets, less volume, but a guy you can roll the dice on. Jerry Jeudy, mid-range matchup as well. And again, if you guys want guys that have tough matchups, like a guy like Tyreek Hill playing Thursday, he's got the second hardest matchup for his position, coming off 3 terrible weeks. I mean, he's a huge, 2 terrible weeks, 4 points and then 12 points last week. I don't trust him. And again, tough matchup. I wouldn't pay $8,300 for a guy who's crapped the bed the past 2 weeks and got a tough matchup. That being said, crazier things happen. He could go off and have a huge game. So, again, that's fantasy for you. Stefan Diggs coming off 2 mediocre weeks, 14 points last week, 9 points the week before. He's got it in tough this week. Be aware of that. And also, guys, people ask me who to start from the Rams. They're playing Seattle. I like Van Jefferson. I think he's the best value. I would go with Van Jefferson at $5,600 if you guys want a Ram, okay? Unless you don't want to overpay for Cooper Kupp. Moving on to the tight end position, start your best possible tight end. George Kittle, you're paying $7,500. Travis Kelce, $7,200. Good matchups. Mike Gesicki, he's been safe. He's $5,000 if you want some more value there. Jared Cook, set for a good matchup. Darren Waller, set for a good matchup. Watch him. I don't know. I think he's still banged up. I wouldn't start him. Check his injury. I haven't checked up on his injury, but he should be still banged up. Not sure. Check before the game. But again, if Darren Waller plays, good matchup. Rob Gronkowski, 7th hardest matchup versus position, but I like him. 6,000. Gronkowski's been good to me for a year long. I like him. Kyle Pitts, $5,500, got a tough matchup. So both Gronk and Kyle Pitts got a tough matchup, but definitely guys that can get the volume. Kyle Pitts, a big disappointment this year, but could be due for a breakout game if you want to roll the dice on some risk at the tight end position. Hawkinson, check his injury status. He should be good to go. If not, he's got a tough matchup. Pat Freiermuth, tough matchup. 5th hardest versus position, but he's been safe, very touchdown dependent, so something to be aware of. Mark Andrews, mid-range matchup for Mark Andrews, $6,400 coming off a big week. Mark Andrews, if you want that safe, solid tight end, but again, mid-range matchup, not the easiest for him at all. So Gesicki, Cook, easy matchups, but again, not as consistent as some other guys that I mentioned. Your Mark Andrews, your your Travis Kelce, your George Kittle. Okay, guys? Let's go to the best defenses to start this week. With defense, I don't mess around. Last week, I started the Chargers. They did okay, not the best. I tried to stream a good defense. Didn't work out for me. But this week, let's go. Houston versus Jacksonville. Jacksonville versus Houston. Either one of those ones could be a good defense to start. San Fran versus Atlanta could be good. Bills versus Carolina. Dolphins versus the Jets. Another defense you can stream. Vikings versus Chicago. Packers versus Baltimore, especially if Lamar is going to be out. That could be a good start. Cardinals versus Detroit. Another solid defense. And maybe even Browns and Bengals as well. Browns playing Vegas. Bengals playing Denver. So I don't really like the Bengals pick, but it is a decent matchup. The one I like the most, actually, that's really, really popping out to me is the Dolphins versus the Jets. Bills versus Carolina. Something about Cardinals versus Detroit also kind of gets me, too. I kind of like that matchup as well. So, there you have it, guys. And again, when you are playing, some DFS advice, daily fantasy sports advice, is roll the dice on those wide receivers. Again, you could take some risks. They like to boom. Secure that ace quarterback. Secure those ace running backs, the guys that are get that volume. Stream a hot defense. Defense that's got a favorable matchup, such as Arizona versus Detroit. And again, make sure that your running backs are solid and secure, those volume getters. And tight end, safe as possible. Tight end. Again, I like to roll the dice on the high stream defense, the high-end boom type of wide receivers, and then if there's a value at running back, I'll try to grab that as well, which I've listed in the show. But for the most part, I like to make sure my quarterbacks and running backs are secure. Okay, guys? Make sure you guys subscribe, leave a thumbs up. How are you guys doing in the fantasy football playoffs? Are you still in? And make sure you guys subscribe. 2022 is going to be here before we know it. This year is wrapping up, focusing on some playoff NFL football leading up to the Super Bowl. Subscribe, thumbs up, guys, and follow me on Insta at Fantasy Football Counselor. I'm out.